All right, everybody, welcome back to the House Committee on Government Operations, Military Affairs. This afternoon, we are going to take a look here at an amendment to the Waterbury Charter, and welcome back.
Good afternoon, everyone. Tucker Anderson, Legislative Counsel. You have draft 1.1 of the committee's amendment to H 801, which is the Waterbury Charter. It amends section 2 of the bill in section 1 of the charter to add a new sentence at the end of the authority for the local option tax to state that the tax shall be collected and administered by the Department of Taxes pursuant to 24 VSA section 138, which is the general law provision covering local option taxes. The purpose of this amendment, as was discussed by the committee at the last meeting concerning H 801, this will tie all of the procedures under general law for the collection of a local option tax to what is adopted in Waterbury. So that includes, for example, the 70-30 split, the 90 days notice, following quarter collection of the tax by the Department of Taxes, the entire kit and caboodle.
So it just brings it in alignment with every other charter that we do, correct, Dr. by saying that?
Yes, every charter in recent years, let's say, has had this provision added in to make sure that the charter local option tax is not interpreted to be different from what general law requires for the adoption of a local option tax, as far as the collection of the tax and the administration of the local option tax program.
I was just asking, since I'm reporting, I believe I said I'd report this, right? Yeah. I don't want to make sure that we didn't need to go a 20-minute dissertation on why we got arrived at that, which I'd have to use you as phoning a friend to do such, but.
Is it necessary? Perhaps not. Do the people want it? And then another question, 20 minutes on local option taxes, who knows?
Yeah, I think
I'll be phoning a friend if that's the case.
the easy way to talk about this in the floor report as amendment would just be to say that this is the usual language.
Standard language to conform with all other modern day charters or something like that. Questions, call Tucker Anderson.
Okay. Needing to remember if do we need to take separate votes to adopt the amendment and the bill? This is yeah, so I think if we want to adopt, if we want to just have one vote
As
to adopt the bill as amended by draft 1.1, I think that's fine.
So moved.
Haven't done that.
Are you at that point? I'm sorry.
Yeah, absolutely. So so Representative Morgan has moved that we find H 801 favorable when amended by draft number 1.1. Is there any further discussion on the Waterbury Charter? Thank you for volunteering to report the bill. Representative Morgan, you're carrying more than your weight.
Heavy burden.
And this bill, so appreciate that.
I'm such a mark.
All right, everybody's punchy after lunch, so so there's a motion on the floor. Is there any further discussion? Clerk Shell, please call the roll.
Representative Byram,
Yes.
Representative Boyden, yes. Representative Hanga,
Yes.
Representative Morgan,
Yes.
Representative Cooper Burlington,
Yes.
Representative Markey,
Yes.
Representative Chase, Representative Waters Evans,
Yes.
Representative Cooper Randolph,
Yes.
Representative Nugent,
Yes.
Representative Higby,
Yes.
Representative McCarthy.
Yes.
12 zeros, yes.
Thank you. All right. All right, see, now we're running 2.5 minutes early. That's the kind of efficiency that you come to expect. It's great. So this is the rare opportunity for us to hear from foreign dignitary in House Government Operations and Military Affairs as we consider H 667. I think we're just a couple minutes away from our scheduled time, and I think the sponsors of the bill are going to be joining us. And did you hear anything back from
Apropos background.
the administration? No?
Two flags.
Senator Daley, we're waiting on our bill sponsor, so welcome. Thanks for joining us. We'll.
I suppose, Chairman, they're on Irish time, are they?
I have to ask this, but is himself at home?
I don't know is he at home, but like I'm hoping to go home soon. Actually, you know what? Sorry, lads. No, and ladies, I forgot to put on my jacket. I've lost Dawson. Going to a meeting, like, geez, my mother would kill me. Anyway, put on my now. See, now if you're going to an event, you better be properly dressed and stuff. How are you doing? How is the weather in Vermont?
We have finally had a couple days of sunshine. January was the cloudiest month since the 1950s. So we had almost no sunshine for the entire month. And now we've had a couple of days of sun, but it's very cold. It's about 15 degrees out, I think.
Ouch. I mean, like when I was there, it was like epic cold, but from my point of view, but like in my part of Ireland, like, you know, the way Johnny Cash sang about 40 Shades of Green,
Yeah.
which is about Ireland. You have to earn 40 Shades of Green. Like, you know, it has to rain a lot. And in my part of Ireland, it rains 264 days a year. Now it
Where
doesn't
are
rain
you?
every day. Like that we don't get like that kind of punishment, but like you have to earn that level of greenery, and God knows we earn it. We earn it but like it's like, you know, it's nice rain, it's soft rain, it's kind of like comes sideways, comes out of direction. So anyway, I appreciate the fact that you have so much cloud cover. Hopefully the sun will stay with you.
So committee, when we get our bill sponsors in here, we'll be taking up this is 667. Yes, and so that's why we've invited Senator Daley to come and join us today. And so I really appreciate you being willing to zoom in and provide a little bit of context for this proposal. I believe here we have our bill sponsors right on time. So
You're only a small bit late, like just a small bit, just a small. Hi, Connor. Hi, Heather.
So I'm gonna, would you Representatives Casey and Chase like to come together? Is Representative Casey gonna? Yeah, so please, if you'll tee this up for us, I think what I'll do is have you testify, and then we'll have Legislative Council walk us through the bill after we've gotten the context of what this is all about. So.
Oh, really? So I don't think we're the main attraction today, so we can keep it short. It's
Green tie on you.
Missed opportunity.
It's a book of tells. But great, thanks so much for having us, everybody. It's Connor Casey from Montpelier here.
Heather Chase from Chester.
And really excited to come in today to present the Ireland-Vermont Trade Commission. This has really been something we've been working on for the last couple of years here. And it began actually with the establishment of the American-Irish State Legislative Caucus, of which has been formed in all 50 states at this point. And I'm looking at Representative Nugent, but we were lucky enough to have 7 members go over to Dublin this previous August here, visit with the Minister of Trade, various other Irish ministers. Senator Daley took us on a field trip up to Belfast, to meet with some of the counterparts up there. And one thing we would say, as dysfunctional as the Vermont legislature is on any given day, the Northern Irish Parliament hasn't met in 2 years, right? Because of the power sharing agreement. So we were able to cover quite a bit of ground there. But really just want to bring it back to this bill. And this is a bill that's currently pending in about 30 states. It's been introduced and it's passed both in West Virginia and New Jersey, and bipartisan sponsorship, I think, in every case here. And it was actually a beautiful thing. Heather and I, Kate, when we were over there, we were sitting with people we often disagreed with, like from all around the country here. But one thing we agreed on was sort of the the love for Ireland and the ties that bind us to Ireland from our various states here. And Vermont has a very special relationship with Ireland. First off, we're the fourth most Irish state in the country, with 17% of Vermonters claiming Irish ancestry. You can walk through the halls of the State House, and one of the first people you're greeted by is Matthew Lyon, who is our famous congressman elected from jail, right? But also born in Dublin. Better distinction there. Senator Patrick Leahy, who we were talking to, some of us last week, and mentioned this bill, was one of the architects of the peace agreement and the Good Friday Agreement over in Ireland, and was just really instrumental in making sure we never return to the troubles that we had before. You can go back very far, and Ethan Allen, while he was on a British prison ship, it stopped off the coast of Cork, and he was housed there for a period of several weeks. And while there, Ethan Allen was a prisoner, and he was visited by the local Irish and given a lovely tweed suit that he always remembered that day forward, because the Irish appreciated that Ethan Allen hated the British probably even more than he did. So, or they did. So there's great history here. This bill is a very short bill, you'll notice, and a couple of key components of it is there's no appropriation attached to it. This is not meant to be funded on the backs of Vermont taxpayers. It would be a commission that self-funds. And Heather can talk about it a little bit. We say Irish Trade Commission, but when we say trade, it's not necessarily economic solely, and that's why Commerce kicked it here. Certainly we can look at the benefits of the European Union. Ever since Brexit, Ireland is the only English-speaking country in the European Union, currently home to 900, Senator Daly can correct me, 900 American businesses, and is the gateway to the European Union. So from an economic basis, it's a great place to do business. But in addition to that, you look in Vermont, we've got the Burlington Irish Heritage Festival, which brings acts from Ireland every year. We've had great exchange programs with the University of Vermont, bringing guest professors over. And I think Vince Feeney, who some of you might know, taught Irish history for years up at UVM, and was really interested in this bill as well. So again, it's a pretty nimble commission, 3 appointed from the governor, 3 appointed from the House, and 3 appointed from the Senate. The thought was, give us a shot, not asking for any money, come back in a year with a report and see what we can do to really build some of these ties between this state and a country that's given us so much. So I'd hand it over to Heather there if you have anything else.
I don't really have anything to add.
But like one thing, like we did have, it was first presented last year in Commerce.
Right.
And I think we got a bit too cute with it. So we tried to really Vermont right size it and say, okay, we don't need a staffer for this. We don't need to do what New Jersey's doing necessarily, or West Virginia, but we can do it and maybe build it from there. So,
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah, great job.
I'm like a wind-up toy. I'll keep like talking
Yeah,
if you pull the
But
string.
if you have any questions, I'm super supportive of it. The trip to Ireland was very informative. I think it could benefit Vermonters and Ireland, and we do have that long heritage. I'm very supportive of this. The other reason I'm super supportive of it is the gateway to the EU. And a lot of that has broken down for Vermonters and US companies because of Brexit. So that's a real attractive component of this. So I'd ask for your support and thank you for your time.
And I'll just leave you like just a personal note there. I grew up on the border of Ireland, Northern Ireland in the 80s during a very turbulent time. And I remember you'd be sitting in class and the desk would start shaking, right? And you'd be like, please, sir, is it an earthquake? And the teacher would be like, oh, no, lads, just a customs station being blown up down the road, So it was a very scary time. And, I remember moving to America and then moving back and seeing the barracks down, the British soldiers gone, and no hard border, the border where we were harassed at every day when we went shopping. And it really was the American intervention and the ties that America has with Ireland that brought about that peace. And it's so important to keep that connection to make sure we never return to those days again. And I think a commission like this goes a long way to do that. So thanks very much.
All right, Representative Hooper and then Hango.
Good day. I'm supporting this because I seem to have dried up on my connection to the mint chocolate Bailey's Irish cream. Will there be some provision in this for a more direct conduit?
We did have, I saw on the shelf, Representative Hooper, didn't even plan this, but Cabot Guinness mac and cheese was on the shelf the other day. I was like, my God, like if the bill comes to fruition, we could be eating that every day. That's great.
Very careful that the commission not do anything that violates any of our Department of Liquor and Lottery.
Oh, no,
Very important.
completely appropriate, just, under the table is fine.
Representative Hango, please. Sir.
Thank you. Am I under the impression, if I recall correctly, that there are one or two other trade commissions that Vermont has entered into? I think Canada might be one. Do you know what others?
No, I'm positive there have been several different types of commissions with the Quebec sort of cross-border alliance there. The most recent sort of exchange program would be one that Governor Scott brought in with apprenticeships with Austria. You probably saw that a few weeks ago. So it's great to see that there is an appetite for it. And, somebody asked in Commerce, like, do we even need like a legislative approval for this? I think it does mean a lot that the legislature actually appoints this group of 9 people with the governor to give it that gravitas to sort of go over there and actually meet with ministers on the level as sort of government officials or quasi-government officials.
Representative Chase and then.
Thank you. Do you know what kind of coordination or effect would be between ours and the other states or the federal level? Like if there's any preemption from the federal level, or would this be coordinated in New Jersey or West Virginia?
Yeah, I think because it's fairly new, the commissions would be talking to each other pretty regularly, right? It's I think New Jersey just passed, was it last year or the year before at the most? Senator Daly can tell you. But, even though it's going to be a smaller scale, I think we can certainly learn from them. And obviously different industries in every state too might be distinct. Given your background, Representative Chase, Ireland has been a leader sort of in some of the technological advancements there. So as far as, bringing some of those groups together, I think Representative Priestley has been big on that in the Commerce Committee.
Cool. Thank you.
I just wanted to say, even in little old Lowell, Vermont, there's quite a nexus to Ireland in that we have Irish Farm Road and Irish Hill Road, and Murphy's and a bunch of other names settled the area in Lowell. So pretty interesting.
Well, given your surname, sir, it's you're a son of Ireland yourself.
Great. So wanted to give Senator Daly the opportunity to give your thoughts about how this is working and your support for commissions like this with other states.
We're giving the full screen here. Thanks very much, everybody. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Connor, and thanks, Heather, and thanks, Chairman, and thanks to the members of the committee. I think this idea came from the visit by the New Jersey American Irish State Legislators Caucus, which at the time was less than a year old. And as Connor has pointed out, like there are now Irish caucuses in all 50 states, and they're open to everybody. You don't have to have Irish heritage to be a member, you just have to be a supporter of Ireland. And every month, 2,000 state legislators who participate and are members of the caucus receive the monthly newsletter outlining what's happening in Ireland, what's happening in the United States, and importantly, what's happening in Northern Ireland. And Connor referred to Senator Pat Leahy. Pat Leahy was instrumental in the peace process, a quiet operator behind the scenes, and Pat Leahy is spoken about fondly here in Ireland for his work in Washington, ensuring that peace has prevailed because there are people alive in Ireland because Senator Leahy and others got involved, but stayed involved in our peace process. And that peace process celebrated its 25th anniversary last year. And when New Jersey came over, we brought them to Northern Ireland. They saw that the importance of continuing to support peace, and that is done through political engagement and through economic and trade engagement and education. And what we're hoping to do is partner universities departments. So in Vermont, the university engineering department would be partnered with the engineering department in Queen's University Belfast, or the University College Dublin, and you would have academic exchange and student exchange programs, which University College Dublin already has with UCLA in California. But what we want to do is what happened last August is that every August, the Vermont Ireland Trade Commission members and the legislators and business community and education community would come to Ireland and would go to Northern Ireland, see the opportunities there, come to Dublin. We're hoping to have, as part of this year's summit, it's not confirmed yet, with the commissioners and legislators from across the United States, a summit on AI in Google headquarters, talking about the challenges that we're having in terms of artificial intelligence, trying to regulate that. So there's a lot of areas we can collaborate on, but the big selling point really is that Ireland is now the gateway to Europe. Britain having left the European Union, as Conor said and Heather said, we're the largest English-speaking country left in the European Union, a market of 450 million people. There are 900 US companies use Ireland as their aircraft carrier, basically, off the coast of Europe to access that market. And there's an American Ireland Chamber of Commerce here, which could assist with businesses in Vermont accessing that market without having to navigate the colossal bureaucracy that is Brussels. You're able to base in Ireland, benefit from the fact that the Irish education system has 70% of our high school graduates end up going to third level, one of the highest in Europe, and benefit from that. But also Ireland is the 9th largest investor in the United States of America, which for a country of our size is quite impressive. But what we want to do is, like most countries tend to focus on the big states like California and Texas and the Floridas and the Georgias and all those. But Ireland, like Vermont, is a small country that has to elbow its way into the world and keep ourselves, we have to be nimble and scrappy. And like what we want to be able to do with your assistance is help each other in terms of assisting our people in Ireland and the people in Vermont in terms of affording the best opportunities in terms of economic opportunities and in other ways. So this is a platform, and as Conor has outlined, the legislation drafted by New Jersey, nothing like a good idea. Normally you have to ram a good idea down someone's throat, but in this case it was borrowed, repurposed by West Virginia, and they passed it into law before New Jersey managed to do so. And as Conor said, nearly about 30 states have it in various processes of passing. I just got the copy of the bill from Illinois just there half an hour ago. And again, it's about building relationships, and that's what having a platform and a structure where you would be invited over every year to Ireland. And what we then have is we make sure that our ministers who have been informed by our Department of Foreign Affairs, you need to go to the other states. And as a result of West Virginia passing, not just the Bostons and the Massachusetts and the Californias and those. And as a result of the West Virginia Trade Commission, the first Irish Minister of State in 100 years, in the history of our state, ever to go to West Virginia, went to West Virginia because there was an Ireland Trade Commission. The next minister is going this July. And that's because there's a structure and now we have a way of continual engagement. What can often happen with trade missions and trade delegations is they go and nobody goes for another 4 years and the relationships are lost. What you need is continuity and ongoing engagement. But Ireland, as Conor has pointed out, is the gateway to Europe. It's not a market of 5 million people. It's a market of 450 million people.
Any questions for Senator Daly? Our committee is spellbound, Senator Daly.
That's a first. I managed to silence anybody in my life, even when I was doing chairing. But no, I just want to thank the committee for the great opportunity. It's a great honor to be back in Vermont, if only virtually. But it was quite an experience to be there, and really enjoyed my time there.
Well, I really enjoyed when you were here just a couple of weeks ago, to be able to have lunch with you, and just to know that there is a senator of your stature in Ireland that is making the effort to bring American and Irish relations at the small state level together. I really appreciate the goodwill that you're bringing, and we'll try to meet you halfway. And I hope to be able to make it out there myself eventually.
Well, we look forward to coming. And the good news is, just so you know, the latest update is Stormont is back up and running as of last weekend. For the first time in 2 years, they managed to elect a speaker. They managed to elect a first minister and a deputy first minister. But don't worry, they were all on the payroll for the last 2 years while nobody did a lick of work. But
I wouldn't fly in Vermont.
Oh no, I can guarantee you, from what I know of Vermont and from talking to people there, that definitely wouldn't work. But the reason that it got up and running, and it's slow stuff in Northern Ireland, is the US kept at it, kept being involved. That's the very important part of it.
Well, thanks for being with us. Feel free to stick around and listen if you would like, but we know you probably have other places to be.
No, you're grand. Like it's 6:30 here. So like watching, this is like Disneyland for politicians. Like watching other people do business is always a great way, because you'll always learn.
I'm here to follow our YouTube channels.
So
to like and subscribe.
Commissioner, what I was hoping we might do is have legislative council do a quick walkthrough of the bill and then take your testimony, if that's okay.
Sounds great.
All right, great. So I'm going to invite Mr. Sagel to join us and walk us through what appears to be a pretty short bill. So I think we can do this pretty quickly so we all know what we're talking about. And then, of course, I've already flagged, but if we do move anything like this forward, we've got to put a sunset in here and also think about how to fill vacancies. Those are two mechanical things that we'll have to add if we do further work on this.
Yeah, well, Rick Sagel, Legislative Counsel. Thanks for having me back in Gov Operations. So yeah, House Bill 667. This is the bill that would create the Vermont Ireland Trade Commission. Representatives Casey and Chase did a great job explaining the why, the how, and I'll just describe what I've done here with the bill. So really it starts here on the second page. The question earlier was asked about a trade commission, how many we have in Vermont. We don't really have any created by statute. There are some that the governor has engaged in via executive order. This would be the first trade commission via statute, just so you all know, with Ireland. So I created a new chapter 111 B, which would hold all of our trade commissions. This would be the first one, the Vermont Ireland Trade Commission. So Part A of 4129 establishes the commission and who makes up the commission. You have 9 members, 3 appointed by the governor, 3 appointed by the Speaker of the House, and 3 appointed by the President pro tempore of the Senate. Then you have the purposes of the commission, advancing bilateral trade and investment between Vermont and Ireland, initiating joint action on policy issues of mutual interest to the 2 entities, promoting business and academic exchanges, encouraging mutual economic support, encouraging mutual investment, and on page 3, addressing other issues as determined. So this language really is quite a bit taken from New Jersey and West Virginia. I think South Carolina, Representative Casey was also inspirational here. So we're not creating this from scratch, in other words. Subsection C, the members shall be appointed for terms of 4 years and shall continue until their successors are appointed, except we will do initially staggered terms. And you see there are 3 members by the governor will serve terms of 2 years, the 3 by the President pro tempore for 3 years, and by the, I'm missing the Senate there, or the House. Let's see, the governor, 2 years. Yeah, I might need to figure out why the House members are not listed there. I'm gonna note that for myself.
For section C.
So yeah, section C, I have the staggered terms for the governor and the president pro tempore, but the speaker, the House members are not listed there.
The way I'm reading that is that the House members would be appointed for the full 4 years. The.
Except
Senate
those
would
two.
be 3 years, and then the governor would be 2 years, and then their 4-year term would start. Is that accurate?
That could be read that way. That's probably why I meant it. In case it's a quick read, you may not catch that, which I just did. So yeah, we could leave it like that, or we could be prescriptive and say this is the House member terms. Subsection D, a vacancy shall be filled within 90 days after the vacancy. Subsection E, the commission shall select a chair from among its members in the first meeting. And that chair may appoint committees and subcommittees at the chair's discretion. A majority shall constitute a quorum. Subsection F, there shall be a report submitted by the commission sent to the governor and the General Assembly within 1 year of its first meeting and on or before November 1st of each year. After that. Subsection G, the Vermont Ireland Trade Commission is authorized to raise funds for direct solicitation or other fundraising events alone or with other groups and accept gifts, grants, bequests from individuals, corporations, last page there, foundations, governmental agencies, and public and private organizations. And to defray the commission's expenses and to carry out its purposes, those funds can be used for that. The funds, gifts, grants, or requests pursuant to the section shall be deposited in a bank account and allocated annually by the ACCB to defray its expenses and carry out its purposes. So one thing to note there, Representative Casey wanted to, and he mentioned this, that he didn't want the commissioners to be paid, right? So in this kind of setup, we usually do pay members who are either legislative members or non-legislative members. So I think we want to make that clear that we're not going to pay them if that's what you want to have happen in this bill. We probably need to set that and say these members will not be paid. Section 2, initial appointment shall not be made later than October 1st, 2024, and the act will take effect on July 1st, 2024. I have noted the sunset.
Yeah, it
Provisions.
sounds like there is the vacancy provisions are in there, so I'm just flagging that as something anytime we set up a board or council commission, we've got to make sure we're thinking about. Any questions about just the words on the page at this point? I think we flagged a couple of things that we might need to clarify or tweak, but. Rick, thank you very much. Spot seats with Mr. Sagel. Thanks for joining us on this.
Thank you for inviting me. For the record, Joan Goldstein, Commissioner, Department of Economic Development. I feel as though I might be the skunk at the garden party. I would like to explain, I've not been before this committee, so I'd like to just explain a little bit about the structure of the department and how many we are, and so that you can get an understanding where I'm coming from. We're 28 people in total. That's extremely small by state government standards. I'm sure you've met many departments that are much larger than that. 7 of those 28 are limited service positions, the most of which are being paid for by ARPA funds, and 5 of those are currently vacant. So the rest of the people, and you think about, we've got a commissioner, a deputy commissioner, 2 admin people, we've got certain government programs that are funded by the feds. When you come down to it, you've got like 9 people handling 16 different separate, distinct programs. And so what's happened over the last couple of years, every so often we get gifted, I call it gifted, a responsibility from this great body, and we end up doing it. And I think it's fair to say that we're at full capacity, however small and however well-meaning the responsibility may be. And so I thought I'd also talk about how we do have a person, 2 people, 1.5 kind of handling international trade. And as a result of their work, we have developed some relationships with various entities associated with Ireland regarding diplomacy, bilateral trade, and direct investment. Through the Vermont International Trade Alliance, which is an association of Vermont private and public organizations, have initiatives in exporting, importing, foreign investment, and it's made up of like law firms, customs brokers, airports, federal and state agencies, and banks. There are established relationships with many European Union countries. Through active collaboration with the Vermont office of the U.S. Commercial Service, which is a department within the International Trade Agency, a federal entity. They basically have offices all over the world, anywhere we have diplomatic relations. The U.S. commercial staff based in Ireland and the U.S. Embassy in Washington, D.C., we've been in touch with them regarding trade missions, company business-to-business meetings, and market entry opportunities. So there may be small businesses that we help with exporting, larger businesses may have questions. We connect them with contacts within the respective countries. In 22 and 23, the U.S. ambassador to Ireland, Claire Cronin, met up with our team at the Select USA Foreign Investment Summit in Washington to endorse the potential of an Irish trade mission. We were very much in favor of that. The team has also met with the Irish ambassador to the U.S., Geraldine Nason, at the Irish Embassy to talk about Irish companies operating in Vermont. And Vermont's International Trade Division also has direct contact with the American Chamber of Commerce Ireland, based in Boston. The Consul General's Office of Ireland, based in Boston, General Fitzgerald and staff are very accessible to New England states. Twice a year, the Vermont team meets with Mark O'Connell, CEO of OCO Global, which is a leading world trade firm based in Ireland that recruits mostly European Union companies to expand into the US market. The team has also met with Maureen Pace, president of the World Trade Center in Dublin, and her staff regarding utilizing their services and contacts when a trade mission is scheduled with Ireland. We've also met with the executive director of the Cork City Commerce and Economic Development Association about opportunities in County Cork in southwestern Ireland. We've also met with Senator Peter Welch's staff about the senator potentially accompanying some Vermont companies to Ireland and his Irish heritage, and also follow a longstanding relationship with Ireland as Senator Leahy had. So I just here to say that this is who we are, this is what we do. We're not sure there's a need to have another commission. As you know, sometimes those are hard to fill. The governor's got hundreds of them. It's not saying it's not a good idea, anything that encourages trade. But again, adding just another responsibility, however seemingly small, we would be hesitant.
Questions for Commissioner Goldstein? Seems fair to characterize the administration's position as good idea. Not sure ACCD is the home for this. I think there's a desire among the number of the legislators who've been involved in some of the exchanges with some of our Irish counterparts to have some kind of official recognition of that and a place where they could raise funds into that would be appropriate and appropriately managed. So if this isn't the right home, maybe there's another one, but we can work on that. Questions, Representative Hagan?
Thank you, Commissioner. Could you answer the question about how many other trade commissions like this we've already entered into?
Right. So we didn't have one for a specific country. We had an International Trade Commission a couple of years back, and it was dissolved. It was dissolved because of lack of true specific mandate, and then they didn't meet as a result. And then eventually it was just dissolved because it didn't. Again, it's really, when we think about trade, it's usually we have relationships with all the federal contacts that have the relationships in the countries. So that was dissolved, so we do have a very strong relationship with Canada. It's not really called a mission. We have trade missions that usually go to the country where there's a trade show, a global trade show happening, so that we could utilize some of our SBA funds to help pay to get to the trade mission, because we don't have budget to just do trips. It usually has to come out of our SBA funding we bring small businesses with us to encourage their contacts and export opportunities in the country. And we usually look at the global trade shows wherever they're held. And we tried to do an Irish trade mission last year. We didn't get enough Vermont businesses actively interested, so we're going to keep trying on that front. Our international trade rep is of Irish descent. And so there's definitely a theme of we want to do this. We think there's a lot of commonality. But the commission, it sounds like we'd be collecting money and then dispersing. We couldn't really understand, what other purpose it would serve. And again, being responsible for it, we'd want to make sure that there's a true justification, that there's a mandate and some specific outcomes that have to come as a result.
Just following up on that, thank you. So to your knowledge, there haven't been any other statutes put in place. I probably should have asked the attorney that.
Absolutely.
That there haven't been any other statutes passed and put into place that establish trade commissions with any particular countries.
Not that I could find, I did see the International
Trade
Trade Commission when the federal government's involved. We have that, but as far as Vermont, state of Vermont with other countries and provinces, we don't have, that I could find any trade commissions.
Yeah,
Statutory.
right, it's not, like we had a Vermont Quebec Alliance, there was an appropriation a couple of years ago, Lake Champlain Chamber was heading that. But there isn't a formal thing in statute, like we obviously want to work with our trading partners and encourage export because Vermont businesses need the export market to develop for sure.
Commissioner, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. Sorry to be the skunk.
No, I think it's fair to say we need to find the right home, and so that's not a huge problem. So I guess I might ask Representative Casey, if you and Representative Chase and others who might be interested in figuring out if ACCD is not the right home, maybe we can work offline in terms of how do we facilitate, sort of what our big priorities are here. I think that am I understanding correctly that the main goal of the bill is to create a formal home for some of the activities that we, want to finance and allow and sanction to happen. So am I understanding that correctly?
No, absolutely. And I'm already thinking of some other places where this could be housed because, as we said at the beginning, it's trade, but it's not limited to economic trade. So, whether it be maybe like the treasurer's office could host something like that, that's fine. I think we're agnostic where the bank account goes and absolutely sympathetic for the resources of ACCD. But we can kick around some options in the back there.
Yeah. We really appreciate that. I definitely want to make sure that we get it right and have kind of a willing fiduciary agent or administrative partner. So we'll work offline and try to find that spot. Any questions or thoughts from the committee before we move on to our next agenda item? Representative Chase.
Thoughts? I'm in support of this. That's wouldn't make it suspected.
Okay, so you're on the ad hoc working group to find a home for the commission. Great, thank you, Representative Chase, for volunteering. Representative Hooper, go ahead. Did you have your hand up, Representative Hooper?
Only halfway.
Okay. I felt I was like reading your body language and saw your hand kind of go up.
I just conferred with counterpart here with that maybe it might be housed in liquor control.
Man, this committee this week just full of comic relief. And we're gonna need it for our 2:00 topic. Great. Well, I think we've got a few questions that we will have to answer on this one, but this was just our first little walkthrough and introduction. So appreciate everybody's bringing this opportunity to the table. Now we need to figure out how to make it happen. So Senator Daly, we wish you well.
Chairman.
Thank you for being here. So we're going to just take a quick break and then come back right at 2:00. We're going to see some language that is relevant to our jurisdiction that's being considered. These around the ed finance and potential rewarning of school budget. So serious stuff at 2:00. So we'll